So good afternoon. My name is Ruben Castillo. I'm privileged to serve as the Chief Judge of this district, and we're happy to host what I'm going to call Voting Rights Part 3, or the third of the trilogy. I'm sad to see it end because this programming has been really cutting edge, and if you're following, the newspapers and what is going on at the Supreme Court, and you look at the first session, you look at the second session, and now you see the third session, you could be following this in the New York Times, any newspaper, or even the U.S. Supreme Court. Just January 10th, the U.S. Supreme Court heard an argument about the Ohio voting purge process. That issue, I think, is going to be addressed by this afternoon's panel. If you look at what occurred on January 9th, when a 3-judge panel, North Carolina, threw out a congressional map finding an unconstitutional gerrymander, I think that whole topic was addressed in Part 2. Or look at what happened January 23rd when a Pennsylvania map was thrown out. That whole topic of gerrymander is pending before the Supreme Court, and it'll be interesting to see how all of this lines up. I said before, I can't think of a more important topic than voting rights, so it is, my hat is off to the Seventh Circuit Bar for coming up with this topic, and in particular, its diversity committee. For putting together this cutting-edge programming. No matter what your interests are, they're affected by the 3 programs that have been hosted proudly by the district court. My own personal interests have to do with the issue of guns. You saw the Seventh Circuit address that this year. I also happen to be the son of an immigrant. So I'm definitely interested in immigration, and I can tell you any immigration reform that's going to come from this Congress and from the president is very dependent on what goes on in elections that occur with respect to the U.S. Congress and nationally. I'm also very interested on my mother's side in the island of Puerto Rico, which has been devastated by Hurricane Maria. Which I will shortly visit to see firsthand what it looks like. And I can tell you one of the things that was held up by the budget stalemate was aid to Puerto Rico. So it is very hurtful. It's hurting people. It's killing people on that island. And that's something that shouldn't be happening. So all I can say, bottom line is elections have consequences. And if you come here tomorrow in this very room at 3 o'clock, we're going to swear in the new U.S. attorney. That U.S. attorney was named by our new president. I'm going to make 2 predictions here today. I think I'm going to predict that you're going to see new additions to our court and to the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals very shortly, later this year. So elections have consequences, and we need to know what our history is and how these cases play out in court. So my hat is off to the Seventh Circuit. We're thrilled to host this. Here's my last prediction, and this one I can easily make happen. I want to announce for the first time that our court is going to honor its history. We're coming up on our 200th anniversary next year. So we're going to open up on May 1st, happens to be Law Day. Also happens to be the date we're going to have our pro bono ceremony in this very room. We will open up our first history museum on May 1st on the 21st floor of this courtroom. And I can assure you that at different points, that history museum will honor the various voting rights cases that have been litigated in this building, of which I was proud to participate in some of those cases. So having made that unpaid announcement, and I'm not going to pay myself for making that announcement, my next duty is to call up our great president of the Seventh Circuit Bar Association, Beth Harrington, to give you her personal greetings. Beth Harrington, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. As Judge Castillo noted, my name is Beth Harrington. I'm the current president of the Seventh Circuit Bar Association. And on behalf of the association, I just wanted to say thank you for being here today. We're very excited about this program. We think it's very important and very timely. I'd personally like to thank the Diversity Committee and Margot Klein in particular for really spearheading these various topics that we've been covering at our free CLE programs. So we're really thrilled. Thank you, Margot. And also, I wanted to make sure that I put in my own public